Hey there YouTube lovers, my name is BB8 and today we are going to do a part 2 of the top 10 games that deserve Nintendo Switch 2 editions. I didn't initially think about making a part 2 at first, but considering I did think about games like Pikmin 4 and new Pokemon Snap once I wrapped up production on the original video, I thought there's still other games I can put into a part 2, so I thought, why not do it? And I do think there is a whole bunch of other titles that do deserve the upgrade treatment, not just the 10 I brought up on my original list, so I thought, why not do 10 more? And I don't think I might be able to do a part 3, only because I might be diving into the back half of the Switch catalogue that isn't really that good. So I'm just sticking to 2 parts for Switch 2 editions. So, without further ado, let's get into it, shall we? Number 10. All 3 Mario sports games. If I'm being brutally honest, the Mario sports games that came out on the Nintendo Switch were hit and miss for me. Only because they didn't keep me engaged for that long. Because unlike games like Super Smash Bros. Ultimate or Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which did have enough content in it to keep me going for like more than 50 hours. Smash Ultimate kept me going until 400, but unlike these, they didn't keep me going for that long. And while Tennis Aces and Golf Super Rush did have decent single player modes, it was Battle League that mainly just went out quite quickly. And I feel like these titles were missing a few things, which actually did make them more engaging for longer. And I do feel like the Switch 2 could be a bigger opportunity to give some more sports games better treatment. And I don't think they will end up touching tennis, golf, or strikers in terms of new installments. Instead, I think they will touch baseball or a new sport entirely. So what I think they're going to do instead of releasing new installments is releasing Switch 2 editions of these 3 games, or heck, they might as well bundle all of them into a collection for all I know. I just feel like bundling all 3 of them together instead of re-releasing them separately, I think could actually make sense here, because all of them did lack content, but hopefully the Switch 2 might give them a second chance. Number 9, Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity. I personally did not play Age of Calamity the first time around, but from what I have been hearing about Age of Calamity is that the performance on the original Switch wasn't that great, such as the frame drops and the stuttering making the experience more distracting for people. And I do think with Age of Imprisonment due to launch in 2025, it actually does make sense to release a Nintendo Switch 2 edition of Age of Calamity, especially to improve on the frame rate, and it could actually take advantage of the HDR feature with the art style as well. And I don't think we're going to get anything new content-wise, but in terms of performance and visuals, that's all we really need for Age of Calamity, really. Number 8, New Pokemon Snap. I feel like New Pokemon Snap was a bit of a random game to bring up on this list, but the reason I did is because the visuals in New Pokemon Snap look charming. The photography gameplay in the game is so calming, and I do think the visuals are the best we've seen in a Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch. And I feel like New Pokemon Snap getting a Nintendo Switch 2 edition could not only improve the resolution and take advantage of the HDR feature, but I do feel like a Switch 2 edition of New Pokemon Snap has potential for new content and expansions, especially now that the Switch 2 is more powerful than the original Switch. So some new biomes could be possible here. Fingers crossed that we actually do get a Switch 2 edition of New Pokemon Snap. It would actually look stunning if we did. Number 7, Metroid Prime Remastered. I get that Metroid Prime 4 Beyond already has a Switch 2 edition confirmed, but why not Metroid Prime Remastered? It already looks fantastic, and I don't see the original Metroid Prime coming to the GameCube collection anytime soon, so bringing out a Nintendo Switch 2 edition for Metroid Prime Remastered could make it run natively in 4K, take advantage of the HDR feature and the performance of the Switch 2, and also, like in Metroid Prime 4 Beyond's Nintendo Switch 2 edition, they could add a new control feature, since Metroid Prime Remastered could take advantage of the mouse controls. So if Metroid Prime 4 Beyond's doing it, why doesn't Metroid Prime Remastered do it too? Number 6, Sonic Cross Shadow Generations and Sonic Frontiers. While it is already confirmed that Sonic Cross Shadow Generations is coming to Switch 2, we don't actually know if people who already have it on Switch are able to get the Switch 2 edition at no extra cost, or if you have to buy it again. But what is the difference between Sonic Cross Shadow Generations on Switch and Sonic Cross Shadow Generations on Switch 2? Well, it hasn't actually been confirmed yet. With Sonic Frontiers already reaching 3 years old, I do think Frontiers did have some performance issues on the original Switch, so giving it a re-release on Nintendo Switch 2 can improve on the render distance and the performance of Sonic Frontiers. Number 5, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. I did want to bring up Echoes of Wisdom in the first part, mainly due to its performance issues, but I mainly didn't have room for it. But doing a part 2 actually did give me a chance to talk about Echoes of Wisdom. I don't think Echoes of Wisdom will have much added to it other than HDR, higher resolution and improved performance, and considering that Echoes of Wisdom did release towards the end of the Nintendo Switch's lifespan, I do think Echoes of Wisdom should get a Nintendo Switch 2 edition. The same could go for Link's Awakening, but only time will tell. Number 4, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. I do feel like Super Mario Bros. Wonder was a game that did come out too late in the Nintendo Switch's life cycle, but considering how Wonder is one of the most creative and visually unique Mario games ever made, I do feel like Nintendo did this with Super Mario Party Jamboree and Kirby and the Forgotten Land, so why not give Wonder the treatment? But what else could be added to Wonder though? Well, similar to New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, they could add in a new campaign from the perspective of another character. Personally, I would pick Wario and Waluigi, only because we've not had a Wario platformer in a while, so I do think a Super Mario Bros. Wonder Switch 2 edition with a Wario campaign added into it would actually be really fun, and also improving the performance. I do think this could add more replayability to Wonder, as we already have. Number 3, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. I don't think we're going to get a new Smash game anytime soon, especially with Masahiro Sakurai working on Kirby Air Riders, but Ultimate definitely deserves to be preserved and improved on Switch 2. I do think it is the least likely on the list, thanks to Sora being a legal nightmare to get in thanks to Disney, but I do think with improved matchmaking and 4K visuals, I think Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is too big to leave on the original Switch. You don't have to add new characters into the game, but I do think a Switch 2 re-release with a few quality of life improvements, and of course a prologue to World of Light that plays a lot like Subspace Emissary, I take it. Number 2, Fire Emblem Three Houses and Fire Emblem Engage. I haven't played either of these two Fire Emblem games, but I could definitely see how Three Houses and Engage could work as Switch 2 editions. I do think Engage relied more on fan service than Three Houses did. I think both, from what I've been hearing, did have issues with their performance. And I do think Three Houses and Engage could add a new control option with mouse controls. But how would Fire Emblem use mouse controls though? Well, think about it. Fire Emblem's a strategy game, and the mouse controls could be used to drag people on your team from one tile to another. That's how I think the mouse controls would work in Fire Emblem. And considering Fire Emblem is one of those Nintendo franchises I have had a hard time getting into, like with Kirby, I'm hoping that Three Houses and Engage will end up being a turnaround for me. As soon as I finally get to play it, number 1, the game that triggered me to do a part 2, Pikmin 4. Pikmin 4 only came out in 2023, so I do think a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition should happen. I do think the visuals on the Nintendo Switch 1 already look stunning, but I do think taking advantage of the HDR feature, improved performance, and some new DLC content as seen in Super Mario Party Jamboree, plus Jamboree TV, as well as Kirby and the Forgotten Land and the Starcross world, I do think Pikmin 4 could add a new campaign into the mix, probably based on a different character. Like, how about Louis, for example? Maybe Louis can go ahead and get a campaign of his own in a Pikmin 4 Switch 2 edition. I mean, I'm not waiting another decade for a Pikmin 5. So if you're gonna bring out more Pikmin content, bring out a Pikmin 4 Nintendo Switch 2 edition to keep people waiting for a 5th Pikmin game. So I think Pikmin 4 might be a perfect contender for this. So guys, what did you think of part 2 of my picks that deserve Switch 2 editions? I don't think I have another 10 to talk about here. Like, I do have others, but unfortunately, because I don't have 10 of them, unfortunately, part 3 is off the table. So, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, and turn your notification bell on so you don't miss another video like this one in the future. And I will see you all in a future video. BB8 out.